Final episode of the UberDanger series. Here it is.
Swak Wictus reached level 60 after suffering through hundreds of hours in Azeroth. Today, we're gonna showcase the WoW Classic endgame content and review it along with the rest of the game to provide the world with a non-biased, no nostalgia goggles review from a new player's perspective. But before we do, it's time for a recap, because it's been a long time and a lot has happened. After reaching max level, I lost interest in both questing, dungeons, gold farming, and metagaming. In fact, realizing that
I like how he put, when he said gold farming, he put like gambling as like his gold farm.
I'd been fulfilling a several months-long positive reinforcement loop of maximizing macro efficiency and structuring my entire behavioral pattern around dedicating several hours a day to World of Warcraft really took the wind out of my sails. I realized that this game rewards time over effort. It's tedious in nature much more so than it is difficult, and overcoming difficulty is what makes me feel accomplished. Slugging through tedium numbs my mind. In layman's terms, I was tired of doing repetitive shit in this boring game. So for my final pilgrimage, I set out to explore the last few uncharted territories in Azeroth that I had yet to venture through on my journey. I'll be using said pilgrimage to enlighten you.
The final adventure of Swak Wictus. Okay.
If you thought reaching 60 was the big reveal, you were fooled by the small reveal. I'm gonna start my last World of Warcraft video by revealing the best kept secret in all of Azeroth.
What's that?
400 hours of standing, hitting, and occasionally jumping. 2.5 weeks of conscious human existence. Depending on who you ask, that on its own is quite a feat. Spending it in a 15-year-old MMO leveling a warrior? Now that's just masochistic. When I started playing, I was under the impression that it was a World of Warcraft. I've come to find that it's primarily about the war. The crafting is rather secondary. Blizzard built this massive world and filled it with all these fantasy races. They made players spend hundreds of hours becoming emotionally attached to each of their respective characters. Then instigated one giant race war and let the pitfalls of the human condition do the rest. Even I have to admit, it's goddamn beautiful. The degeneracy is unmatched, and this game is a hub for all the best people living out their worst lives. Except me. I'm the worst person living out my best life. I managed to hold on to an incredible secret for half a fucking year just for this very moment. I told you, you're not ready for this. Soldier, if you're standing up, I'm gonna need you to sit down. You're gonna have to take a seat on this one. If you're prone to epileptic seizures or heart palpitations, then I suggest you take your delicate sensibilities to a more casual viewing experience. This is your last chance, because I'm about to take it to the next level. I'm not here to fuck around. Have I not made that abundantly clear?
Why is he
This is go mode. I'm thorough, unrelenting, and word on the street is I'm downright meticulous. You think I'd just leave the series hanging without a conclusive ending? Fuck!
Steve,
Yeah?
I'm gonna start ranting. You ramp up the music over the next minute.
Sure, John. God, I'm loving this unpaid internship.
You speak when spoken to! I'm gonna be frank with all of you. I detest the World of Warcraft endgame. Once I reached 60, I naturally started doing the raids. An experience I'll articulate later in the video.
I actually get that, honestly. I do agree to a certain degree that, like, once you get to the farming part of raiding, it can get kind of boring. I like the gearing and the leveling and, you know, progressing your character more than just raid logging, personally.
I was intensely disappointed to find that the reward for dumping a couple hundred hours of my life on this game is getting to do the same thing over and over again until you get lucky, but without dopamine points. Essentially farming for bis gear and doing monotonous repetitive shit.
Dude, I'm thinking about, maybe I would actually really like a kind of, what are those games? Roguelikes. Maybe my brain is really well wired to like play roguelikes, because I love the dopamine of leveling and getting gear. Like, I love that shit.
A lot of
people recommended me a game a while back called Risk of Rain or some shit. I never got to take a look at, but stuff like that I would probably really like. I've never played it, but yeah.
Will suggest just making another character, but wisdom is knowing that to be the point of no return. If you make another character, you
80s?
just turned WoW into an infinity game. No, I don't want to fuck around in AV several hours a day to get my honor rank up.
Why not?
No,
It's fun.
I don't want to farm the same boss for hours in hopes that I'll win the role on a 5% drop.
you got it.
No, I don't want to find a guild that raids in a time frame
with
that
the
suits my
art.
weekly schedule. No, I don't want to do the Valentine's
Oh, you
event
don't
and
do
raids in a
that,
time
man. I
frame
gotta
that
read it
suits my
now.
weekly schedule.
No, seriously, what is this with with WoW Classic being intensely overpopulated by boomers who all agree to raid weekdays, like Mondays and Thursdays, the only 2 days the entire week where I'm not available? What is actually wrong with all of you who spends the weekend with their family? What kind of depraved, codependent, unworthy life are you all pursuing? Okay.
No, I don't want to do the Valentine's event and collect all these cards. No, I'm not excited to have a 1% more crit chance. And no, I
Okay.
don't want to wait half a year for Blizzard to release an hour's worth of content. And no, I don't want to deal with the ramifications of not talking to my WoW GF for months. Besides,
I feel
this is what
personally
happened
attacked.
when I called her.
Yo, you really fucked up. You really fucked up big time, man.
What is that? Oh.
There's some bitch from Snapchat.
Oh,
You're
shit.
fucked up, man.
Oh, fuck.
I'm sorry. I fucking played you.
No fucking
I
way.
got you! I got you! You fucked up! I got you!
Just kidding. It's a random dude. I actually haven't spoken to Amiri in months. I'm
Oh.
pretty sure Larry, the actual boomer, stole my girlfriend.
Aw,
but you know,
fuck.
it is what it is. I'm not
focus.
good with MMOE relationships. I'll have to settle for real women. But enough about my emotional compromise. Here's the big reveal. I'm about to eclipse every single great feat on my journey. Had I
Okay.
just scammed a dying guild into farming my Whirlwind X, already then had I established infamy. Had I stuck to just doing the boat skip, already then would I have been a legend of Azeroth. Now, whilst
Okay.
the impulsive nature brought forth by the human condition is to blame for the death rolling epidemic,
damn.
I single-handedly popularized WoW gambling to a point where it's infected every major...
Wait. Was this why? Because... Oh my god, this is why then. This because of him. Yeah? Oh my god. Yeah, alright. Okay, I get it now. I get it now.
city on
Yeah.
every single server, including RP and PvE servers. That's an actual
Why what?
menace.
This is why everybody was doing like those casinos and everything like that. Because of these goddamn videos. This is where it became popular. Yeah, because I never watched these videos back in the day, but I did see all the death rolling everywhere. Because I was literally just grinding rank 14 when these videos were released.
To society. I certainly feel like I've left my mark.
Hmm.
Truthfully, genuinely, I could have just stopped there. Most men would be satisfied with that. But I'm not done. We could talk about how I made one of the most popular WoW series in the world. But enough narcissistic,
Okay,
self-congratulatory patting on the
It's
back.
a good episode though. It's a good
Here's my
series.
magnum opus. Half a year ago, I set out to do one thing and one thing only.
Okay.
Play World of Warcraft Classic to a point where I'd have fair grounds on which to review the game. Yet all I needed was but a mere glance at this game to accurately assess it. I played for half a year just to string you up.
Wait.
Just to make you think
Has
I
he-
needed that much time to understand this boring-ass game.
Hey!
Pay close attention.
Why does he
As
have
of
the-
today, I'm the World of Warcraft accurate review any percent speedrun world record holder. It was there all along. You were simply too blind to see it. From the very character selection screen, I reviewed the game.
What?
None of you fuckers caught on. When my conscious existence runs its course, this is what I leave
don't
behind.
understand.
My dream, my legacy.
how can he review
I'm
it?
quick on my feet, vicious, nimble, and fucking tired of repeating myself. I'm the goddamn king! I run this shit! No
Okay.
more games. This is where I ascend. This is where I conquer. This is where I fucking rise!
Well, what is going on, man? Spark? Yeah, this is his name. Yeah. What's going on? What the fuck is happening? way. Fuck off! No, shut up! No, it does not! Wait, that's it! Fuck! Dude, listen, man. I called him, man. He's been shitting on the game the entire time, man. Okay, he's always given those little slight remarks to the game and everything, man. Unbelievable, dude. Listen, it's a good game, Chad. Okay, it's a good game.
So now that we have my entirely arbitrary rating out the way, it's time to
Okay.
highlight the WoW endgame content.
So it sucks
Seeing
dick,
as I
huh?
no longer design every minute of every day around gaining experience points, what else is there to do?
Okay,
Well,
dude.
this is where the crafting comes into the picture. You see, to achieve the highest
Yeah, like he was very subtle when he was calling the game shit, wasn't he? No, man. Unbelievable, dude.
level of
I mean,
war,
this- I
you
should be-
essentially need to farm ridiculous
Whatever.
amounts of gold. And I'd say the majority
though.
of time sunk into WoW past 60 is spent acquiring money. That
Uh-huh.
is if you're using traditional methods. Personally, I'm more into the
Gamba.
war than the crafting, so I use my own patented infinite value gold
good-
farming
good
method.
series, though.
First, you need a big crowd of people. The
Yeah.
middle of Stormwind around the Nixie buff time is perfectly appropriate.
Mm.
Then, you need to find an individual who's willing to death roll you, assess the depth of your wallet, then agree to roll him for 100 gold. If you lose the roll, confess that you don't possess that kind of money. If you win the roll, it's a 50-50 on whether he's also a scammer. Then
Wait,
you
here's-
rinse and repeat till you're wealthy. At peak server times, this yields profit faster than the most efficient gold farming methods in the game.
Bro.
Chinese gold farmers hate him.
朋友是一个坚韧不拔的纪录片。
Blizzard
What
doesn't
is
ban people for
happening?
convincing others to trade them gold, and most guilds have taken the stance that if
You
you're
can't-
dumb enough to get scammed, it's your own fault.
Okay.
So the only conceivable repercussion would be a negative reputation.
Yeah.
But seeing as most people that play WoW are degenerates, most of them will actually think highly of you for being smart enough to capitalize on a lukewarm IQ.
The thing about he's not even wrong, man. Like, oh my god.
You
dude,
need to
I hate
sort
it.
out
I
your
hate it.
finances and establish a profitable economy, because if you don't, you won't be able to afford doing all the raids. As soon as I hit 60,
whatever,
I jumped
man.
headfirst into Nixia and Molten Core. At
Okay.
the time, Blackwing Lair had yet to come out, and Prevenge raided Mondays and Thursdays,
Did
which
he
just so happens to be the 2 weekday evenings where I'm not available because I'm
What are these demonic raids he's doing and dungeons?
busy being choked by old men.
Yeah, he stayed in.
At Jiu-Jitsu. So for my first
What?
2 raiding experiences, I partook as a guest in another guild.
Yeah.
The loot you're able to attain while doing pugs with other guilds is
just
laughable.
all
You're at
soaking
the
the
bottom
breath.
of the food chain, and if they spare you anything, it's likely because they would have vendored or disenchanted the item otherwise.
What
I
is-
did a full clear of Molten Core, then raided Onyxia's lair twice, and I have 2 items to show for it. I won the roll on the Dragon's Blood Cape,
Ooh.
which is an 18% drop chance from Ragnarok,
Not good.
and this relatively useless trinket that this
Bro, he just got the worst pieces of loot, man. I mean, the cloak is pretty good for PvP, I guess, but
fine gentleman snatched up for yours truly. That's
Oh.
the content creator experience paying its dues.
Yeah.
Although these aren't fantastic items, at least one of them is my first purple item that I've actually gotten with my own 2 hands.
That's nice.
Now that was a hefty handful hours of my life that I spent for barely any progress. As a
Bro.
stark contrast,
Bro.
this is what it was like to do one single MC raid with my guild.
that is epic, though. The train to the raid is always epic. I like it. This is always pretty epic. Like, you can say what you want about, like, 40-man raids, but they do have the scope of epicness, right? The Gauntles of Night, though, those are pretty good. OEB. No way! You got OEB! Sick! And they wiped on guard. Want to go on guard? Helm of Might. No way! Dude, he's getting decked out. Yeah, you still have another model.
And that was but one single raid with Prevenge. We also ran Onyxia on the same night, where I masterfully won a 1 in 40 raid roll for a juicy Onyxia backpack. Needless to say, raiding with your guild is without a doubt one of the best parts of the WoW Classic endgame. With that being said, joining a Molten Core raid when your guild has headed down to a fucking science for half a year isn't in any way challenging. You basically just do what the raid leader says. I've been at this for hundreds of hours, and I want to get to the difficult part of the game.
I mean, Classic WoW, the raiding ain't difficult, okay? But that doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just not difficult, you know what I mean? I'm not taking over the clips right now, Roland. We're watching the video here.
In my case, that meant waiting patiently till Blackwing Lair was released along with Phase 3, which chronologically is over a month in the future from what you just saw. What scheming did I get up to in the meantime? I had a few loose ends to tie up. You see, I once promised myself that once I reached level 60, I would return to Stranglethorn Vale with an army of high-level players armed to the teeth. So I had to make a decision. Do I want 1 million views on YouTube, or do I want to say one word that the algorithm doesn't like? Staying true to my beliefs, I started advertising for my first unholy act of World of Warcraft genocide. Little by little, the word started spreading, and my army began growing. We started with but a few men showing mild interest. Yet not long thereafter, a fucking platoon of soldiers saluted me as the Messiah, the savior who would cleanse Azeroth. When a measly level 27 gnome approached me with a humble request to be used as cannon fodder for the battle, I asked him if he was ready for the genocide. He said, I am the genocide. When I stood side by side with kings like Compound or my guilty Skankin' Pig, absolute carnal primates of the Alliance, I knew I would seize the day. I had one spot left for one special person. And I know what you're all thinking.
No dope?
Larry.
Oh, Larry.
Emiri. But no, Larry was raiding, and women require attention. The last spot was for a business partner. Due to a misunderstanding, doing business with me was not a pleasure for him.
I knew it, dude! He was gonna pick those dope. Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. Oh, shit. Dude, that's such a banger song as well. I love Doom. I've actually only played one Doom game, but I love Doom. Are they just gonna slaughter all the low
Stranglethorn
levels?
Vale was empty. Absolutely desolate. We found like 3 Horde players, and I'm pretty sure I could have killed them on my own. This wasn't up to par. In fact, it was entirely unsatisfactory. You know I wouldn't let this pathetic showing be our conquest. The crusade must go on. And on it went. You see, in WoW, many players are invested in their honor rank.
No. Wait, is he gonna do what I think he's gonna do? Did you play? You played on stream? Doom? Yeah, I played on stream. I'm not gonna do a hardcore character run right now, J-Love. Phase 2 is in 2 days.
Vast majority of players take great pride in having a lifetime 0 dishonorable kills. If you were to be in a raid party where someone offed one single civilian, every single person in that group would have a permanent stain on their previously beautiful stat page. So anyways, I decided to lead us into the Grumgull base camp. I wasn't aware that whenever a Horde NPC sees an Alliance player attack a Horde player, inexplicably, there will manifest one guard for each player in that person's party. In this case, about 40. In the midst of this unbridled chaos, someone did the unthinkable and gave everyone a dishonorable kill. After 370 hours in Azeroth, my perfect honor page was defiled.
Yeah, they're leaving the group.
If you count my fellow warriors, literally several thousand hours of hard work carefully avoiding civilians was all ruined in one fell swoop.
Oh,
that was the point of no return. Future historians would refer to this as the incident, for it was the catalyst that made me snap and send our battalion over the edge. This is the moment in time where we went all sides of the spectrum ballistically rampant. I led the charge onto the Zeppelin. I knew many comrades would be lost along the way, but you gotta crack a few gnomes to make an Ogrimmar raid.
What the fuck is he? You're not even going to Ogrimmar, you're going to Undercity. Okay.
By the way, this was my first time ever leading a raid party, and I'll have you know that it is absolutely power in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
Endgame WoW players basically have it hard-coded into their brains to do whatever the raid leader says.
doesn't
And here's
have
a
that
nugget
many-
of wisdom. Low to medium power corrupts. That's why Discord mods, raid leaders, and Minecraft server owners are the scum of the earth. But I
okay.
digress. When arriving at Tirisfal Glades, I told my legion, cross into the other airship or you will die alone, which is actually rather mild compared to the language your average raid leader would use if someone made the slightest mistake. So
Yep.
we crossed into the opposite
Not
blimp
false.
with pure conviction. Any Horde player dumb enough to fight us on the airship got a two-way ticket to the Death Realm. After
shit.
cleaning up the public transit, we sailed the skies towards our destiny. The capital of the Horde, the heart of the beast.
Mud Hut.
Ogremar. As soon as we arrived
gonna
in
get
Durotar,
destroyed.
our unit got split up when a few of us jumped off to kill
Yeah.
an orc. Within minutes, our entire raid party got systematically picked apart
Yep.
and ruthlessly destroyed in one of the most savage wipes I've ever been at the receiving end of. The Horde would go on to camp our corpses, and we didn't even make it close to Ogremar. At this point in time, we didn't run away. We merely fooled our enemies with a temporary
Okay.
tactical retreat. The army of Swagwictus does not flinch, does not stutter, and does not give up. We
Yeah, that
relocate
is a common Alliance L. Actually true.
to Booty Bay and bolster the ranks once more. You could smell the bloodlust in the air. Once we filled out the raid group, we conjured the perfect plan
Okay,
of
they got a lot of
attack.
people now.
We take the boat to Ratchet, and by that, I mean we miss the boat to Ratchet, only to await the
classic.
next boat, which should arrive within a reasonable time frame. And by reasonable time
10
frame,
minutes.
I mean... So we wait
Yep.
patiently for a full 5 minutes, after which we clearly demonstrated to Gingra the Orc that she was on the wrong side of history.
Oh,
Even though
shit.
40 people attacked her, the Booty Bay Bruisers exclusively target yours
Was a bad
truly.
amazing, bro.
I immediately get knocked off the
Oh.
boat and watch my army sail off without me. After embarrassingly having to be summoned by a warlock, I resume command of the incursion.
Okay, they're going to Ogremar. Dude, is this from God of War? This music? I think it is. Good song. I am a variety gamer after all, guys.
We rode from Ratchet through the Barrens, opting not to go for a frontal assault. This time, we headed for the South Fury River,
Oh, that's a
the
good idea.
Anal Canal of Ogremar.
back door is nice.
The back door, if you will.
That's
we
good.
all knew what was about to transpire. Every lost roll, every honor page defiled.
This is what makes Ogremar so much easier to take on than, like, you know, Iron Forge and shit like that, because the back door is so easy, man.
All our emotional detriment. We'd finally get a release for the primal hatred we bury deep within. There's a time for cringy roleplay. There's a time to farm materials. And there's a time to do the crafting. But
Yeah.
it is not this day. On this day, we wage war.
Oh shit. I think they're spamming the go to retail thing. There's no way it's not that. Okay, I thought they were gonna go to Thrall. They literally just go for the auction house. Okay. There's so many Horde players though. They're gonna get wiped.
When I first saw action, I froze in terror
Oh,
and ran
fuck.
around like a headless chicken. But you don't get it,
That's
man.
so many.
You weren't there. We didn't come with honor. We came with dishonor. We came for everything.
Oh,
The
shit.
Horde, their bank NPCs, their vendors, their
getting wiped,
quest
though.
givers, the civilian casualties were flying left and right. If you look at any of these ruthless warrior stat
Dude,
pages, you will see a battle scar of dishonorable kills.
You're
Like a well-oiled machine, our battalion moves through the death dimension, and all simultaneously res inside the
Oh,
bank
shit.
and rob it. Now, whilst we can't rob the money, we can rob the bank of its employees
Oh,
and steal
fuck
the
that, they're
time
all
of day from its
civilians?
customers, as we force them through a tedious walk in the Death Realm. I realized in the midst of battle that I had finally arrived. The World of Warcraft intro tutorial rounds out at just about a couple hundred hours of playtime. That's when you've got a
summed
good
it up.
grasp on the basics of this very complicated game. At this very juncture,
That's MMOs
you
though.
get to begin playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
Look
I didn't want to mention it, but yeah, he is literally just a cameraman. Like, he's literally just walking around, like, filming the other players.
what you can accomplish with one man, 5 accounts, and a multi-box program when he puts his money where his mouth is.
What?
Separate charges on all 5 accounts with a macro set up to instantly decimate any fool dumb enough to attack him.
Oh,
Absolutely
shit.
smiting any horde player with PvP turned on. In mind you, a ludicrous
Shut up,
vicinity.
Mumford.
That's what I'm talking about. That's a goddamn warrior! After
Hey, yo.
3 dishonorable acts of unholy aggression, we set our sights on Thunder Bluff and began the march through foreign lands. You'll notice half my armor's broke and I have a res sickness.
Yep.
But that comes with the territory.
Ratchet.
We rode through the Barrens, down the Gold Road and past Ratchet,
Yep.
went west at Camp Tawaro and traversed through the giant thorn-filled fields of Agamagor. After passing the Vanas Gaming Bristleback Boar Settlement, we scaled this hill in the
Yeah, you did
southern
some right. You
Barrens
did.
to enter Malgor, the final zone in the game I had yet to step foot in. I can finally fill out the entire map of Azeroth.
Ooh. That's so many zones, though.
Goddamn
What
beautiful.
the fuck?
In Malgor, we make a pit stop for buffs and celebrate our thus far righteous conquest to our best ability in this online nightmare RP hellscape. As a final ode to the intensely worrying roleplay elements of WoW, we got E-smashed
What?
at 11 p.m.
Okay.
on a Tuesday, gathered our troops, and
Oh
went
my
on
God,
our
he
final
doesn't have
assault.
I could get
revenge!
He's going insane. I don't know what's happening.
And when you think about it, it's pretty ironic that we managed to kill maybe 1 player for each 5 civilians.
Yeah,
That's
they're-
a really bad ratio.
I'm already getting so nostalgic about Classic. I mean, I guess it is almost 5 years ago that it came out. So, goddamn, 5 years ago already. That's crazy.
And with my dying breath, I said,
Damn.
alright, round 2. We made an
Maybe I never
attempt on
stopped
Karen
playing it, come
Bloodhoof's
on.
life. Any soldier in our squadron
Index.
who had dreamt of a glorious death in battle
No, that's
got
not
the
me. I wasn't on the
opportunity
server.
of a lifetime, which in their case wasn't very long. Now, we may have won the battle on the bridge, but that was because we were fighting one single NPC. The real battle? After this dirty shaman ratted us out, we were outnumbered 10
He's
to
in a guild called Folketinget. Oh my god, that's like the that's the Danish political whatever the heck.
1. It was an entirely brutal slaughter, and I question why these brave men chose to follow me. In a last-ditch effort, a paladin saved me with divine
Parliament, yeah.
intervention, another stroke of brilliant game design by Blizzard. A whopping 3-minute crowd control effect you can cast on an ally that leaves them entirely unable to perform any action, but also makes them completely invulnerable.
Oh,
there I
shit.
stood, with an ever-growing mob of relentless animals watering at the mouth, knowing that in mere minutes they'd be able to have their way with me.
You have beautiful skin.
Taurens, orcs, liches, trolls, checks, ghouls, goblins,
Okay.
you name it. Within a
What was
relative
that?
time frame,
I'm
they'd
not going
all
back.
be able to
I saw
swat
something.
the wick,
I'm not going
which
back.
would be a terrible fate for a gentle
Nope.
night elf. That is, if it wasn't something we're all just pretending in a video game.
No, I'm not
Once
going
it hit
back.
me that I was in a forced state of
Nope.
divine interracial LARPing, I realized that I was in the very worst aspect of the game. Not the war, nor the crafting.
Chat,
I
not doing
was
it.
currently experiencing the world. And this particular part of the world is ruthless.
Listen, chat, I know what this man puts in videos, okay? I used to watch his goddamn dubstep Ignite videos back in 2011 or whatever, okay? He put some weird shit in those videos, okay? And I'm not going back and I'm not pausing them.
And unforgiving.
Yeah. Quick pause? What was I paused on? I didn't even look at it.
Perhaps it was always my fate to be teabagged by an orc after undergoing a forced session of divine interracial LARPing. I've
What?
come to accept this as my fate, my
Okay.
destiny. For it is not where we end up that molds us, but rather what we do that defines us. Fast forward to 3 days later, and I'm with my guild officer Mitsuha doing the attunement for Blackwing Lair. That meant completing Upper Blackrock Spire in its entirety, which at this stage of progression is a cumbersome annoyance. When we killed Gith, it dropped the Chromatic Carapace,
nice.
arguably a once-in-a-lifetime, absolutely insane drop.
But
if you weren't to turn it into the breastplate of Chromatic Flight...
What's that? And he's like, now he's sitting and like hyping it up.
You would undoubtedly have a crowning achievement on your character. Of course, the instant I found out I'd have to farm materials to make the breastplate, I passed on the roll immediately and never looked back. I'm not here to fuck around. I don't have space in my inventory, and I'm not gonna farm mats. It's kill mode, not playtime happy hour. We killed General Drakasath, and I doused the Orb of Ascension with my primal lustful essence.
He's gonna do Blackwing Lair as well.
I was attuned to do Blackwing Lair. On Tuesday, the 18th of February, 2020, I was stood in the hallway outside Dire Mall North, patiently waiting in a line with my guildmates so I could get a handful of buffs. Only 5 people can enter the dungeon at one given time, and due to us all missing the Onyxia buff earlier in the day, this would have to cut it. When it came my turn, I realized we were gonna have a problem here. Our raid was already intensely delayed, and it dawned on me that I didn't know the way. At all.
Oh no.
Not even a little bit. I waited in silence for a few minutes till Mage Tom came through, and he had absolutely no idea which way to go either. So we waited in shame till Moggerfogger came along, and he also had absolutely no idea where to go. That's when I took a leap.
Okay, what is this guild? Is this guild like actual, just like a bunch of like very new WoW players? There is no way. What?
Faith. Down the Noggenfogger elixir and try to find my way to wherever these buffs may be. This was the monumental point in time where World of Warcraft reached an adequate difficulty. I had to be quick on my feet. Don't aggro the dogs. Use my last invisibility potion to maneuver past these mobs. Gnomish cloaking device for the next pack. Admittedly, I had no idea where I was going or what I was doing. So it's a good thing Farnar came through to lead the way. Now you may be thinking, damn, that's a lot of time and effort for some buffs that will disappear if you were to die one single time in the raid. But you have to understand, I came here to ninja loot the Tarnished Elven Ring. The buffs are complementary. I get summoned to Stormwind, and we begin our conquest of Blackwing Lair.
WoW is truly a great game. He only got 2 buffs. Maybe he didn't get the spell power buff, I didn't see. A spell crit buff, I guess.
There's a few things you have to understand. My guild has at this point never cleared Blackwing Lair. The only way I got into the raid was by lying through my teeth, claiming I had all the consumables, which would cost hundreds of gold, and claiming that I'd read several comprehensive guides on the mechanics. My guild officer said he'd let me record the raid if I didn't show any of the wipes. I told him,
Bro, you can't tell a content creator not to show the wipes, man. That's literally the content right there, dude. That is like the filling, okay? That's the filling of the whole thing, man. Alright? He does not know what he's getting himself into.
Won't show any of the wipes. On the very first pull, we immediately wiped, causing everyone to lose their buffs. A solid 2 hours of preparation out the window, but that gave everyone a great opportunity to improve at World of Warcraft. You see, the extremely complicated mechanics of the fight was walking up to him and attacking until I had 6 stacks of Fire Moss Flame, then walking behind a wall till they disappear. Now that's a lot to take in. That's very hard to keep track of. So it's a natural mistake for even a higher intellect such as myself to stand on the wrong side and get absolutely eradicated in an instant. After 3 warm-up rounds, we finally slay the dragon and move deeper into the lair. When reaching the next boss, it struck me that no matter which path you walk in WoW, they all lead to the same destination, which is a never-ending homicide on dragons of color. A la admit I haven't followed the lore plotline, but I have my stern reservations about whether I, as the player, am on the wrong side of
I kinda miss
history.
Black Wind Lair,
Whilst
fun.
we're here, I also have to retract a statement. You see, I can't really claim that this game has no difficulty if I'm the only person who sucks so much fucking shit that I die to Ebon Rock. Also, Flamegore burnt our entire group to a crisp with over half his health remaining. It's really not a good look. To ensure victory,
Dude,
our raid leader gave
is
detailed
impressive.
instructions on how to complete the fight.
Tanks do shit.
So over. That's not your description.
I'm not even joking. That's how we explain the mechanics of every fight in the raid. And objectively
about
speaking,
Chromagus?
he's not wrong. Then we all hide in a corner like
no.
little soy boys so we can kill Chromagus through the wall. I've heard rumblings that this should allegedly be one of the hardest bosses in the game to date. We took him
one-shot it.
down with no sweat and minimal
easy.
effort because the tanks did shit. Although I did at one point
they-
have 3 curses.
Okay.
Had I attained a 4th curse and turned into a mess,
How do they wipe on Firemaw and Flamegore, and then they just one-shot Chromacus with no deaths, man?
dragon killing my entire guild, they would surely have been upset with me. God bless whoever sent me that restorative potion.
Chromagus
Even
is
though this
easy?
was a progress run where we skipped the first 3 bosses, it still took us a solid 3.5 hours
Okay.
to reach the final boss, Nefarian.
You know what the great thing about this boss is? If you wipe to him, you have to wait 15 minutes for him to respawn. Because that is his great game design, isn't it? It is just absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I remember playing Pickle in between wipes on Nefarian. It's a great fight. I love the boss fight. But if you wipe, it is so annoying because you gotta wait 15 minutes, man.
It did not come as a surprise to me when we all died. This boss is so big, only a third of him fits on the screen.
Yep.
Had we killed him with ease, I would have been disappointed. What did come as a surprise is that you need to wait a good 15 minutes to try
There it is.
again. Plenty of time to talk about our feelings.
Are we doing the boss now?
Nice. Let's go, guys. Let's fucking go.
As Candy.
On this fateful day, at 11:49 p.m., as one of the only 2 idiots who managed to die during the fight, I was there when Prevenge first cleared one
sorry.
of the only 2 idiots who managed to die
Sorry, I just wanted to see the loot. Talisman and Convery, Lamentium Band, Dragonstalker, Okay, not interesting loot. Alright.
during the fight. I was there when Prevenge first cleared Blackwing Lair, and without a shit of irony, I believe this was the exact point where I felt I had
Prestige
fair
is cool.
grounds on which to review the game. I want to give credit where credit is due. When it comes to world building and atmosphere, WoW Classic is by a large margin the best game
Yep.
I've ever played in my life. The sound
That is honestly what WoW Classic is all about, though. Like, the world and the feel and that shit, that's what it does so well. The end game, I mean, that's good, but it's definitely the world that's the big part of the game, right? Age of Change, thank you for the 6 months.
soundtracks in this game are phenomenal, and
True.
I've never been this immersed in an online world. Even with outdated game mechanics and the general limitations of game design from the early 2000s, the actual experience of playing WoW holds up. Having dumped a couple hundred hours of my life on it, I can definitely
I do
see
too.
why it's praised as the granddaddy of MMORPGs. In game design philosophy, there's 4 basic player types. The socializers, explorers, achievers, and killers. The vanilla iteration of WoW manages to satiate all of their desires and combine these elements perfectly. This works in
okay.
tandem with the degenerate community, from the funky chunky 40-year-old gnome players fiending for a break from their wives, to the emotionally needy female night elf e-girlfriends that are all a 50-50 coin flip between autist and femboy, to the stoner dwarves that sit around in Ironforge enchanting all day, most often falling victims to scammers late at night. To every mage I meet, all of whom I suspect to be Irish, it's the same lifestyle. Drink, fight, drink, fight. To female Tauren resto druids that are 100% of the time, without a doubt, somewhat sad, lonely women in menopause. To every paladin player that either got tired of playing RuneScape, is leveling an alt, or doesn't have a keyboard. Possibly all of the above. To warlocks
It is so true, man. It's so on point.
who are primarily an object for us to get from one place to another,
True.
but also partially emo losers. To the human
Yep.
priest that, in a linear correlation with realizing he chose the worst race class combination in the game, has a questionable relationship with his ADD medication.
But this guy, he's such a boomer, dude. I don't want to fucking play with boomers anymore, man.
To the hunter with antisocial personality disorder who pulls everything and feigns death. By the way, all hunters are idiots. To the Eastern European warrior player who yells loudly about his big dick DPS.
So I get him out of
Of course it's fucking Pilaf, man.
the stealth, I charged him. Now he tries to run away because he realizes
Yeah.
I'm alpha as fuck. I don't play games around. If you wanna fight, you're gonna fight. You're not just gonna
Oh,
stand there
no.
and
To every rogue player who must have had an awful childhood. To every masochistic elemental shaman. To every feral druid who's a furry willing to play the worst class in the game just so they can yiff. To the cave dweller joyfully RPing as a human warrior with a worthy life. To the streamlined multi-boxer on 5 accounts, actively writing scripts to play the game for him so he has more time to play
This
the
is
game.
insane
To the
people do this.
first-time player who simply picked Night Elf Warrior for the meme and got thrown into all of this without any clue what the fuck I was doing. These people are World of Warcraft, and as much as the classic community and meaningful journey are absolute circle jerks at this point, I have to set aside my
That's kinda
Dunning-Kruger syndrome and admit that everyone is right. It's fucking spot on. The
It is good,
community
though.
and experience of entering it constitute hands down the best video game experience I've ever had in my life. I've had a handful of games cause me so much distress that I needed to physically destroy them. But for once, I'm gonna try to be original and actually come up with a different ending. This game is a treasure and it's been an absolute joy to play it. So for now, I'm just gonna put it on the shelf. You can literally play this
Spore.
game in any way you want, as long as
Damn.
what you want is the worst player base humanity has to offer, cringy roleplay, and outdated PvE elements.
Spore's a
If
great
you
game.
can look past the monotonous tedium, you'll come to find the best damn race wars of any online role-playing game on the market.
Damn. That was a good series, Chad. I like that. That was really good watch. I'm glad we decided to watch through the series, man. Yeah, I like that he's like genuinely giving it a good review at the end and, you know, explaining what it's all about. That's really good. Yeah, I never watched this. Again, the reason why I never got to watch this was I was ranking. So I didn't have time. You know? Hey, what? Oh, it's like... Oh. That was a good video though, man. That goddamn... Where was it? Here? That's fucked up, man. That's fucked up, dude. What the hell, man? That shit is messed up. The dark lore. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this video though. This was a really, really, really fun watch through of this.